rise and shout. It's time for What's Trending. Yes, What's Trending presented by Tim Daly Ford, part of the Tim Daly Auto Group, serving Utah since 1968. ESPN has released their April edition of the Football Power Index, and they have listed BYU as a team that's going to win maybe 5 games. 4.9, the projected win total for BYU going into the 2023 season.
Very exciting.
According to the numbers from ESPN. Now, they did give a percentage to win each game, and we'll go through that game by game.
Yes,
but, Jarom, just your initial reaction to BYU being projected to win essentially 5 games in 2023.
I get it. BYU lost a lot of pieces, notably, and they're going to play in a Power 5 league. I understand why the projection would be like this, and I actually love it. Because remember, BYU performs better as an underdog than it does a favorite. So I love this. The team can go into the offseason and say, no one thought we could do it. Shout out to all the haters. Hopefully that fuels their motivation and their preparation for the fall. And BYU surprised some people by hopefully getting to 7 or 8 wins. Now, is 7 or 8 wins a really good season? No, 8 is a good season. But 7 in year 1, I think, would be pretty good, given we just don't know how hard this is going to be overall in the Big 12. So I'm perfectly fine with it being low. If it was 8.5, I'd be too high. In fact, if it was 6.5, that'd probably be where we're sitting, probably, in terms of what we think BYU is going to do. Confident BYU is going to make a bowl game because BYU can win 4 of its last 10 games. I'm pretty confident about that.
So it's a funny mix because ESPN comes out and it's all analytical. I mean,
Right.
It's just stats based on returning production and metrics. And I like the Football Power
the opponent
Index.
Against you. Yeah.
But it's just one metric, and it's based on numbers you throw into a computer. This is not like this biased take by a panel of experts that have come together and been like, well, we projected together that BYU should win 5 games. No, this is all numbers.
And even then, okay, great, whatever.
There's nobody really to be mad at, but it's not something that BYU fans will like. So there's this analytical number, and then there's what you and I think will happen. You've settled in, I believe, around 7 games.
6.5.
Okay.
6.5.
I've settled in on 7 even. I think BYU can win 7 regular season games.
I have 6.82 according to my
Your own formula? The Jarom Jordan metric?
I never took a stats class at BYU. I don't know what I'm doing there.
Okay, so there's this analytical number. There's what we think will happen. But then there's this question. How many games should BYU be favored in this season? Because the FPI is not favorable in that category either.
Right, hence the 4.9. Yeah.
Let's go game by game. Sam Houston State, 94.2% chance to win that game.
Yeah. Next.
Southern Utah, 97.5%. BYU is going to start 2-0.
Start 2-0. If they're not, huge problems.
At Arkansas, just 20% chance to win that game.
It's not like Arkansas was a world beater last year, but it is SEC road. It is a team that put up, 66? Was it that many on BYU? I can't even remember.
Was it 52?
52. It felt like 66.
59?
Listen.
When it gets to 50 and you're losing, it's I don't know.
You just put it out of your mind, honestly. 2011 versus Utah, I literally forgot the score for years. It was only 52.
52-35,
It felt like 66. Yeah, 20% feels low there, but it's at SEC and obviously a team that can run the ball and took it to BYU quite a bit last year. BYU's defense will be improved. At Kansas. Prior to last year, we would have said this was 92% chance to win.
This is a coin flip game, according to FPI.
If BYU can't win at Kansas, why would we think they're going to win any Big 12 game on the road? Tell me that.
48.5% chance of all the road games that BYU plays. That clearly is the best road opportunity that BYU has in conference play.
I think BYU really needs to start 4-1 to have a shot at 7+. Because if they don't, it's hard. Because those are some of your best win percentage chances. Also, Kansas would be the weakest of your 6 Power 5 road games. And then you're at home for Cincinnati in the Big 12 home opener. I think there's no way BYU loses to Cincinnati.
52.4%.
It has less to do with Cincinnati and more to do with
the setting,
juice
the setting
of the first home game as a Big 12 team in conference. I think there's no way BYU loses that. I think BYU starts 4-1. The hope is that they can hold on in the tougher part of the schedule with the remaining 7. 4-1 would be awesome. BYU's ranked, overhyped at this point probably, because I don't think BYU is going to go 8+ this year, but that'd be great. But a 4-1 start would be really, really nice.
So if BYU can get to 4-1, and again, Cincinnati at home, 52% chance that BYU wins that game. The metrics don't love BYU, clearly, even at home.
That is the highest, Sam Houston's FBS now. Let's say after game 2, the highest Power 5 win percentage of any game all year of the 10 is that Cincinnati.
It's your home opener.
There's no, I'm telling you right now, we know how to party hard when it deserves it. Baylor last year.
Utah.
Showed up.
In 2021.
Both home openers, by the way, against Power 5 competition. So that first Power 5 home game will be Cincinnati. BYU will be freaking juiced.
Yep.
The team, the fans, the stadium, everything. It is going to be one of the most electric atmospheres in the history of BYU football. Cannot wait. BYU's 4-1, and then we just hope for the best.
At
after
TCU, 16%. Texas Tech at home
tough.
is the one that is a head scratcher.
That's
for
weird.
me.
I'd go mid-40s on BYU's chance to win that game.
32% chance to beat Texas Tech in Provo? What?
Texas Tech had good metrics last year.
This is a coin flip game to me.
Yeah.
Coin flip game.
Yeah. And what if BYU's pretty good? Then they should win that game at home. And let's say BYU drops to a TCU 4-2. Beat Texas Tech at home, and you are 5-2.
You're one win away from bowl eligibility.
That is the realistic best case scenario for BYU to this point, is to be 5-2 at that point. Because then you go to Texas, unless Taysom Hill's playing in that game. No. Listen, Texas is supposed to be good, but guess what? Every year they're supposed to be.
A whopping 5% chance given to BYU to win that game.
5% feels super low. BYU's good history, obviously, against the Longhorns. We'll see how it goes. 5 is super low.
Here's where I really struggle.
I'd put it at 20%.
And I know that the back 4 in November are something that BYU has never faced, clearly, okay?
Right, but West Virginia and Iowa State aren't world
West
leaders.
Virginia, fine. I'm okay. I understand the 36.7% at West Virginia.
Is that just because of travel?
Probably. I don't understand BYU being a home dog to Iowa State.
I don't either.
46%.
Yeah.
And only an 18% chance to beat Oklahoma on senior night in Provo.
Oklahoma's supposed to be awesome.
I'm sure they're going to be great. 18% in Provo?
They weren't great last year. Will Brent Venerables and company really fix what was wrong last year? I don't know. At Oklahoma
Is Dylan
State,
Gabriel all of a sudden a world beater against BYU?
he wasn't in 2020 in the Boca Raton Bowl, I'll tell you that. At Oklahoma State, 24%.
That's fine. I'm fine with that.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good team, right? And that's, there'll be one player in particular who will have some super emotional feelings going into that one.
There are 2 guaranteed wins on the schedule.
Yeah. And
the first 2.
Wait, is this the season where with the fewest amount of guaranteed wins walking into a season ever in BYU history?
Has to be.
1936 when BYU went to the Colorado School of Mines. I felt like we thought that would be a win.
With 10 Power 5s?
With 10 Power 5s.
It makes sense.
All of these numbers make sense, and not all of them, but mostly, and I understand why, and I'm perfectly fine with it. I want BYU to operate as a dog. Maybe BYU gets to the point where Utah is, where it's no, we expect to win the league. That would be awesome. In fact, there's a couple other numbers with FPI to bring up as a whole. So you mentioned 4.9 projected wins. 6 wins, 32.9% chance.
33% chance, essentially, to win 6 games?
Feels low to me. A little higher would be nice.
It's low.
Conference win chance, 0%. Okay.
I'm sorry, what?
What?
It's not even, how can it be 0%?
There's no shot.
That doesn't.
I love this though. If I'm BYU football, I put this in the locker room. I'm like, this projection says this. Let's go prove
0%. Not even 0.01.
Yeah.
Just 0.
There's 0% that's accurate. FPI rank is 60. You're kind of middle of the pack in FBS.
13 of the 14 Big 12 teams.
And as we've chronicled quite a bit the last couple weeks. Listen, these numbers stink. And I'm fine with that. Because I just think BYU operates way... when has BYU operated as the clear favorite and been way better than expectation?
For the first 6 games of 2008.
Not too much, right? And then lost 3 games that year. And a 10-3 year is normally pretty good. That was a big disappointment that year, given quest for perfection. Granted, Bronco wasn't the best at sort of labeling a season or jerseys in tradition, spirit, honor. He did a lot of things great. PR was not necessarily his best one in a couple of instances. So it's all good, man. Like last year, we operated out of the BYU is going to be 10+ good.
Yeah.
They were not. They were not. BYU is better, not as a front runner, but as a dog.
Okay.
And they certainly walk in as a dog into the Big 12.
So the question is, how many games should BYU be favored in this season?
Let's walk
right
through
now,
it.
it's 3. ESPN has BYU favored in 3 games.
It should probably be like 5.
At least
So
4.
Texas Tech at home, and then
Iowa State at home.
Iowa State at home. At Kansas, maybe?
Toss up.
Listen, Kansas started 4-0. They got game day. Jalen Daniels, their quarterback, was really good, like outside Heisman kind of guy. And then they lost like 6 of the next 8 after he got hurt. So he's back, and they'll be interesting. But it's still Kansas football. Like 1 year does not make a program. Certainly they were better. But if BYU can't win at Kansas, how are they going to beat anybody else on the road in the Big 12 if you can't win at Kansas?
Well, again, like worst case, BYU loses at Arkansas, at Kansas. You're 2-2 after the first 4. And you're coming home to Cincinnati, and it's like, okay, now you have to beat Cincinnati to have really any logical shot at getting to 6 wins in a bowl scenario.
Back 6. Texas Tech, at Texas, at West Virginia, Iowa State, Oklahoma, at Oklahoma State. We are hoping BYU goes 2-4 in that. That's a tough stretch. Therefore, I think you need to go 4-2 in the first 6.
For sure. So humor me, okay? And we've done this before several schedules.
This is not funny. This is very serious to me.
Guaranteed wins, toss up, and then projected loss. It's one of the 3 categories.
Yeah,
okay?
so we're going to go like win-loss tie is sort of our toss-up.
Okay, so the first 2 are guaranteed, we're calling wins.
Yep.
Okay, 2-0.
Yep.
Arkansas, is that a projected loss?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 2-1. Kansas, toss up?
Should be a win to me.
It feels like a win for you.
It should be a win.
Okay.
If BYU can't win at Kansas, how are you going to win other
to me,
road
that's
games?
a toss-up. Okay?
A lot of respect for
Toss
Kansas
up.
football, man.
Because of the road scenario, first Big 12 game, Kansas is going to have some juice. They'll probably have scheduled week. They'll be 3-0. Their fans will be excited. It's going to be a road environment.
I feel you, but they had 1 good year.
Okay.
It doesn't mean they're,
Cincinnati. That's a win for me.
That needs to be a win.
It's a win for me.
Cincinnati, good program. Respect the heck out of those guys.
Okay, so right now I've got 3 guaranteed wins.
Juiced.
And
it's a Friday night in Provo. That's hard to beat.
In the first 5, I've got 3 wins, a toss-up, and a loss.
Yeah.
Okay? At TCU.
Loss.
Texas Tech in Provo. They're calling 32%.
Toss-up.
That's a toss-up game, right? At Texas. Loss.
Yeah.
At West Virginia. Toss-up.
That's a toss-up. Yeah.
Iowa State in Provo.
That should be a win.
Win.
Yep.
Oklahoma in Provo.
Loss.
At Oklahoma State. To me, that feels like, based on what Oklahoma State is and what they did last year, that feels closer to a toss-up than it does just a loss.
It's not in the same category as Kansas, though. That's a loss to me. If you win that game, great.
Okay, so take it as a loss. How many guaranteed wins are on there?
I go, 5-4-3.
Okay, I've got 4 wins, 5 toss-up games, 3 projected losses.
Yeah, therefore, BYU will win 12 games.
With 5 toss-ups, BYU's going to win 2 of those to go along with 4 games. I think they're going to win at least 6.
Hopefully in your toss-ups you go high side.
I would love that. 3-2 in the 5 toss-ups? Yeah, for sure.
I have 3 toss-ups. I go.
You're calling your shots.
I go 4-5-3. Yeah, 4-5-3. Yeah.
Okay. Our